hope you are doing well. Welcome to the Game Week 17 deadline live stream. I do apologise for the lateness of this one. I've been out and about this morning, hence why I've got the hat on, hence why I'm looking like a mess. Been dropping off the wife at a hen do, but we're back and we're here for the deadline live stream, so please excuse the rush on this one. But this is the job right now, covering off any of those last few things that you need covered going into this game week, because we know that this is a tricky game week for a lot of people out there. I feel like there is going to be a lot of big decisions to be made, whether it be on things like captaincy, whether it be on specific transfers. Is a player worth taking a -4 to bring into your squads? Now, get your questions in the chat, and as always, if you're looking forward to it, please do consider dropping a like. It is always massively appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into this chat. And I do apologise, Mum's just quickly check to see if I've got the old postman dropping off something, because typically when I hit live, the moment I did so, it looked like the postman is coming to the door, which is so typical, but we will crack on. So, Mitchell, hope you're doing well, my friend. We got one from Death here saying, Henderson, Sleeper, Virgil, Hall, Palmer, Smith Rowe, Remo, Saka, Vardy, Pedro, Isak. Any changes needed? Johnson and Porro on the bench. So for me right now, looking at that team, I think the Saliba, Virgil van Dijk, Hall combination at the back is fantastic. Then we got Palmer, Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe, a lot of people worried about him. I can't sit here and guarantee you that he is going to start, but I do think at least that he is going to be an option for you this week, so I wouldn't be selling him. Mbuemo's perfectly fine. Saka. But yeah, I think no changes needed this week. I think you look great. Obviously, the main problem is going to be no Mo Salah in that team, but I don't really know an easy route for you to go there. Rio, hope we're doing well, mate. Hey, bro, love the outfit. Yes, not usually a hat guy, but you don't want to see what's underneath this hat this morning. Mitchell saying, morning, man, been a while live, being in this early. Yes, exactly that. Mornings are killer over this Christmas period, because I think we all just want to cuddle up in bed and just have a sleep, don't we? Yun saying, start Matoma or Semenyo. I think if I was in a position right now where I owned Matoma, I would start him over Semenyo. I just feel a little bit better about Matoma than Semenyo at the time. We spoke about Semenyo last night in a bit of detail. For me, I think Semenyo is a little bit overhyped. He always puts up decent numbers, but the problem is when we actually take a look at those numbers in detail, you'll see that he's had 70 odd shots in the 16 game weeks, but only about 19 of those on target. So he really isn't one of those managers that is really lighting up the league this season, even though he's great to watch. Victor saying, love you, Nacho, even with the cap on. Yes, cap is staying on for this stream 100% after running around this morning. Chris, as always, my friend, hope you're doing well. We got one here. Hey, who would you bench? Trent, Timber, well, first and foremost, neither of those two before we see the rest. Colwill, Robinson, Mbuemo, Bowen. I'm thinking Trent. No, for me, if you own Trent at 7 million, this is a fixture-proof player. Otherwise, why are you paying 7 million for him in any situation? For me, it would be quite clear that benching Colwill would be the one for me. Steambo is saying, hey Nacho, hope you're well. Would you start Mbuemo or Rutter? Mbuemo for me. If you own him, he's on penalties, guaranteed game time, at times plays as a forward. For me, that is a no-brainer. It would be Brian Mbuemo. So keep firing the questions off in the chat, people. I want to quickly fire up an updated version of Rob T's graphic here. Again, anybody that watches the team selections will know I always try and bring this up, because anybody that doesn't follow Rob T over on Twitter, on Blue Sky, please do so. It's a brilliant account. Doesn't, put up like personality stuff. It's just very good graphics. And this is taken from SpreadX, which is the betting markets, and it's an updated version from this morning. So again, I love to look at these because I have my own opinion on the games. I like to think that I have the same ball knowledge as everybody on this live stream right now who enjoys football, but it's always good to just have this sort of thing as a counter argument. So if I'm of the opinion, that Brentford are going to batter Forest, I don't, by the way, it is worth also looking at what the markets are saying, because then it might just make me have a little bit more of a level head in certain fixtures where I might be a little bit biased. So for example, Brentford's a perfect example. I own Johan Vissa, so in my head I'm like, oh, Vissa's definitely going to score. But then I look at it and think 1.6 projected goals is good, but it isn't obviously a game that they're expecting to be tons and tons of goals in. So I'm going to leave this up for you guys to kind of check out. I don't want to go through every single game because I've done that yesterday, but what I want to do is just highlight the ones that you can see are highlighted. So Liverpool 2.4 projected goals. And for me, Mo Salah is the standout captaincy. We have to also take into consideration no Van der Ven, no Romero, no Ben Davis. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Mo Salah and Liverpool. I don't love the punt on Diogo Jota right now. I always say don't be the first person to buy that player. And I don't think that is the situation. I think that's the situation for Jota right now. Let it happen for 1 week and then reassess on the Boxing Day game. Obviously, we've got Fulham at 2.3. A lot of people looking to bring in Raul Jimenez. I still think he's a great pick. You can see Fulham is a good team to invest in. And Raul Jimenez is the number one, but we've seen he is coming off around the 70th minute always. So you need to obviously skew your minutes if you are bringing in Raul Jimenez, because that is going to continue to happen. I'm certain of it. Before I continue, I can see we have got a super chat here from Scott. Always on the live streams. I massively appreciate it, mate. Like I always say, don't have to put the super chats, but I am obviously massively grateful for them. So thank you so much, mate. So Scott is asking, morning, first and foremost, Onana in goal, perfectly fine this game week. I think he could actually be a great differential goalkeeper. Then we got Gabriel, Timber and Robinson in a back three. Fantastic back three, although I wouldn't be surprised if Crystal Palace were to score. However, when you look at the bookies markets here, 0.83 projected goals for Palace and a 44% chance of an Arsenal clean sheet. So you're looking good in that perspective. But my personal opinion is I do think Palace have the tools to hurt them. Eze being out, though, is a slight problem for them. Saka, Salah, Ahmad, Palmer in midfield. Fantastic midfield. Love the Ahmad pick. And again, with Man United hovering around 1.9 projected goals, and Ahmad being a real consistent performer in the Amorim team, I really do like that as a differential this week. And then you have got Pedro, Jackson and Cunha. Again, Cunha is my opinion. If he isn't banned, which it doesn't look like he's going to be, then I do think he is the man to keep. I don't think I would be doing sideways moves to Raul Jimenez with Cunha. And Jackson and Pedro are fantastic. Now, you got 2.2 million in the bank and one free transfer available. The thing I always ask myself is, in my situation, and the same for yourself, is, are you desperate for a move? And the answer is absolutely not. I think you've got a brilliant team this week. And could your team benefit from a rolled transfer? And I think the answer is yes. Because you've got one free transfer available, I think allowing yourself to have two is actually the way to go. Now, I appreciate you could do Cunha to Isak with the money in the bank, and that would be a temptation. But I still think Cunha is a good option for this week. So, Scott, my answer would be roll the transfer. However, if you're looking at this right now, Newcastle are at 2.05 projected goals and you're a little bit scared, I would then just cut ties with Cunha and get it done. Cunha to Isak, and that would be my one free transfer. But I think I probably would allow myself to have that transfer rolled and give myself flexibility in the following game week. I don't want to miss any questions here because I am conscious we are all probably panicking as it is the deadline today. So if I do miss it, just give me a little nudge in the chat. I will try and come back to it. Mitchell saying, what do you think? Hall, Gabriel, Wan-Bissaka, Odegaard, Rodgers and Buemo Salah. Solanke, Harewood. That's going to be Harwood Bellis, I'm guessing. Sorry, I've just pronounced that completely wrong. And Mikalenko on the bench. Yeah, absolutely fine. I wouldn't be starting any of the players on the bench that you mentioned over the ones that you have in your team. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka a bit of a rogue one, but I wouldn't be looking to sell him. So yes, I agree with the selection that you've gone for. The one thing I would say to you is, with Solanke, if you're not going to be benching him, do you have multiple transfers in the bank? If you do, maybe selling him might be the move, but I agree with the order that you've gone for. Mahmoud is saying, wildcard active, interesting. Fabianski in goal. So you've got Fabianski and Henderson as your combination in goal. Don't love it, but Palace's fixtures do turn longer term and it is a cheap enabler, so I'm not against it. Then we got Colwill, Gabriel, Robinson as your three, and you got Kirkes and Harwood Bellis. I don't love the defence. I think I would like to see another Arsenal defender in there for long-term coverage. Then you've got Saka, Salah, Palmer, Bowen. Can't argue that. Isak, Havertz and Wood. Okay, so again, Havertz a difficult one because I've just not seen enough to justify him being a wildcard pick. I think Isak is fantastic. I think Wood's good. I mean, I'd probably rather take a bit of money out of Havertz and maybe go for a Raul Jimenez for a couple of weeks. Or if you're scared of those minutes, maybe get yourself Nicholas Jackson alongside it at a similar price point. Best 4 million defender. Oh, off the top of my head, at 4 million. If you can go to 4.2, the option's open. Like I said, we can go for an Anderson or a Castagne. So I'm going to cheat there and say if you can get to 4.2, that would be brilliant. Bench Rodgers or Evan Nielsen, or sell Evan Nielsen to Raul. I don't feel like you need to make that move unless you really are wanting Raul on your team. I think he's great, but as we mentioned, the game time is slightly risky longer term. And I think Rodgers or Evan Nielsen could do perfectly fine this week. Man United aren't watertight defensively. And Rodgers against that Man City midfield that are just so unathletic. I think both are fine to keep, my friend. Evan Nielsen to Raul, just remember you are bringing him in with that minute concern. Do I start Buonanotte over Semenyo? Buonanotte should be coming back in, I believe. I controversially probably would play Buonanotte over Semenyo, yes. I have Robinson, this is Omar. Is it good to buy Castagne too? So I was in this pickle this game week where I already had Anderson and I was looking to bring in Robinson. Now, the only thing about it is I just didn't love the idea of having double Fulham. So you already have Robinson. Who are you selling to bring in Castagne would be my question. Play one of Enzo, Semenyo, and one of Aina and Gomez. So I would play Enzo over Semenyo. And Aina versus Gomez, I think Gomez obviously doesn't offer any goal scoring threat. Do I think Liverpool keep a clean sheet against Spurs? I think there's definitely a good chance. If you look at the numbers here, you can see Liverpool 21% chance of a clean sheet. So not fantastic. I think both probably do concede. So I probably would just go for... I'd probably go for... Probably just go for Gomez and just hope that Liverpool just put in a brilliant performance against Spurs. Start Bruno Fernandes or João Pedro. If you own Bruno Fernandes, I think it has to be Bruno Fernandes. He has the captaincy on him. The penalties as well. Sokan, I can never pronounce it. I do apologise. But Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Reckon Palmer could be a risk captaincy, free risk captaincy. I don't mind it, but I just really am bullish on Mo Salah myself. I just feel like there are more goals in that game than the Chelsea versus Everton one. Would you hold Kudus for Brighton Southampton or sell to Ahmad to get Raya? If that's part of a free transfer strategy, then I do like the combination of Ahmad and Raya in your team, yes. Trying to decide between benching Gordon or Pedro, not sure really. Ugh, don't like that. So Pedro obviously on penalties, but away from home. Gordon arguably the better fixture and higher projected goals in that game. I don't love the pick either. I think you have to come to the conclusion that both could hurt you. And I think I naturally would have to pick the penalty taker in João Pedro. But like I said, both could hurt you at any moment. Start two is João Pedro, Colwill or Hall. For me, it would be João Pedro and Hall. I am just a bit of a biased Chelsea fan. I think we're fantastic this season, but I don't see good things defensively, especially with Badiashile and Fofana alongside Cucurella out for this Everton game. I know Everton are poor offensively, but I think we are going to be a little bit up against it defensively with probably Viega playing left back, who's great, but still hasn't proved it in the Premier League. It'll be Colwill alongside Tosin and Gusto at right back. We could dominate the game and win 4-0, there's no denying it, but I think I'd prefer Hall in a bit more of a guaranteed Newcastle back line. Last say flying with the colour coordination day. Yeah, a little bit, what's it called? Coincidental. I definitely ain't got much fashion, so that was that probably wasn't a purposeful thing. But thank you, my friend. And we're saying nice fit, mate. Appreciate it, my friend. Start Ahmad or Trent. Again, I think Ahmad is the one to go for this week. So I'm going to say Ahmad. The problem is, as I've mentioned, if you pay 7 million for a defender, this guy has to be fixture proof. But if I was in a position and I had Ahmad with a home game against Bournemouth, I would have to play him. So it would be Ahmad, but I would be asking you who are your other defenders that are starting above Trent. Right, keep putting the questions in the chat, guys. Let's get into my team. Because some of you might care, some of you might not. But I am obviously aware that some might be asking for it. So this is how we're looking. I made my transfer really early on in the week. I don't know why I've done it. I sold 8 Nori because I was just of the opinion that we were going to see like a double price fall, but it just seems like managers aren't really that fussed about 8 Nori. So I think he fell really early on in the week, and that was it. So I ended up doing 8 Nori to Munoz, which was really risky because, well, I tell a lie. It wasn't risky at the time because Vandenberg was totally fit prior to that EFL Cup game, and obviously Anderson was possibly going to be available. So my thought process was, I'll bring in Munoz. I know he's suspended, but I know he's a player that I want long-term in my team. I think his price point's great for a Palace team that are improving defensively and great long-term fixtures, and he's a menace in terms of attacking numbers. So I brought in Munoz with the thought of starting Anderson, and if Anderson doesn't play, absolutely fine, Vandenberg can come in for their home game against Nottingham Forest, who I think Forest are a good team, but they don't score tons of goals. The problem is, Anderson's fit, but we don't know if he'll be rushed straight in. And now Vandenberg's picked up the injury. And of course, Munoz is out. So I could be going into this week with 10 men. Not ideal. But if Anderson plays, then there's no stresses about this team. So just reading it through quickly. Fabianski over Sells. I just want to play the home fixture. Anderson, Trent and Gabriel as part of the back three. Saka, Gordon, Palmer and Salah. Salah with the captaincy. That has been like it since day one. Then Visser at home, João Pedro and Cunha I'm keeping, unless I've missed anything in terms of the ban situation, but I do not think there has been any updates. Let's just have a look. I'm sure somebody would have been on it if there was any news, and it doesn't look like there is. So if, for example, we're in a position where Cunha does get banned or doesn't play, I think we all just have to put our hands up and say, that was not on the cards, because I think we would have known by now if he wasn't going to feature. So that's the team. 8 Nori to Munoz as a bit more of a long-term plan. And yes, I knew he was suspended, so please don't rinse me in the chat, as always. Okay, so let's cover off some more questions here. Isak or Salah for captaincy? For me, it still is Mo Salah against that botched Spurs defence. We saw Man United score 3 goals, and I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, but Fraser Forster was the one who kind of cost him it. Well, he's going to be playing again against Liverpool, so I think there will be more problems there. Tommy's saying, did Cunha get banned in the end? No, Tommy, it looks like there is going to be no suspension as of right now, and you would think with their game this weekend, he definitely would get banned by now if there was that case. I can't see how they wouldn't let him know by now. Tommy saying, when do I plan on using my free hit? No, nothing on the cards right now. I just kind of let it all happen and then go forward from that, really. So I don't really have any plans. I'll just be very free flowing with it. Visser, Wood, Jackson, Ahmad, Mbeumo. Visser, Wood, Jackson, Ahmad, Mbeumo, and then bench one. Appreciate your input. Thanks in advance. Well, I think of that bunch, like, you've got a fantastic selection there, but I think you have to play Mbeumo with any home fixture. I think Ahmad you have to play. I think Jackson you probably have to play. It comes down to Wood versus Visser if you want to play the home game where Visser has been a menace this season, or Chris Wood who just kind of ticks over each and every week. If it helps in terms of like the bookie stuff, Brentford at 1.6 projected goals, Forest at 1.55. That doesn't really help. I'm going to be biased. I've been a lover of Visser all season, so it would be Visser for me, but I appreciate Wood is just a talisman in that team. Lost Aussie saying, Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Need to play one from the bench. Do I play Rodgers or take a chance on Smith Rowe given the Fulham fixture this week? If I own Smith Rowe and I was benching him, I think I would just be like, why do I own this guy? So I would just start him and hope for the best in that spot. Salah, Palmer or Saka for captaincy? I'm very clear on this. For me, it would be Mo Salah number 1 by quite a way. Should I go for Enzo or Ahmad? If I was picking one right now, I think Ahmad is very much the vibes player, but we're also seeing the numbers in that front three. Enzo is the safe pick, and I think he has more avenues to points because he's on set pieces, but I would be taking that punt on Ahmad myself if I was to go there. What have we got in? And again, guys, if you are enjoying it, please do drop a like. Always massively appreciated. Brennan Johnson to Ahmad and Robinson. I don't know what you mean and Robinson, but yes, I love the move to Ahmad, and Robinson is a great pickup this week. But if you need to free up the funds, save yourself 0.6 million, maybe go to someone like an Anderson or a Castagne. Castagne probably would be my preference in that spot. I'm just checking out this right now. No more updates on Cunha. What we know, he will be playing. Would you start Odegaard or Haaland? If you own Haaland, the answer is Erling Haaland. You cannot be benching a £15 million player. Otherwise, you got to sell him. Mateta or Jackson start. Jackson every day of the week on that one. I have Jackson and Isak next week. Should I buy Raul for Cunha, or is there someone better with more locked minutes? So you have, for me, I would just keep Cunha if I had him this week. I think there are going to be goals in this Wolves-Leicester game. Leicester have been woeful. They've exceeded like 70-odd shots in the last 3 games under Van Nistelrooy. So I think Wolves could have a few opportunities in that game, to say the least. Rio, hope you're well, mate. Who would you start, Colwell or Evan Nielsen? Right now, I'm slightly leaning towards Colwell, but would like to see your thoughts. Okay, so I'm, as I said, quite a little bit indifferent with the Chelsea defence, but I think we're seeing okay things from Man United. Okay things. I probably would just lean towards Colwell, because I do think Bournemouth... I do think Man United get a positive result here, so I probably would just lean towards Colwell. Will Anderson be fit to start? I am praying, my friend. And they are kicking off Sunday, so we're not going to get any news. So it's going to be a stressful wait. But if you're in a situation like myself, I would just roll with it and hope for the best. I'm banking on Strand Larsen this week. Game week 18 and 19 plan on getting a Iwobi or Bruno and upgraded Strand to Jackson. Yeah, I like the plan. Like the plan. I don't love Iwobi. I'd rather go Ahmad, if I'm going to be honest with you. Is there anyone around Cunha's price with solid fixtures and locked minutes over Christmas? And the answer is Christopher Wood, 100%. Wing L saying, love your streams. Thank you, my friend. My question is, should I hit out Cunha for Raul? The answer is no. For me, the answer is no. So I could afford Diaz or Jota to triple up on Liverpool versus Leicester next game week, or should I just hold and get Alisson instead as budget allows? My answer would be, don't make any transfer this week and then allow yourself to have 2 free transfers the following week. I mean, Alisson is not a player that you need in this week away against Spurs. Spurs could definitely score. So my answer is do nothing. Do nothing. What have we got in here? I'm expecting a big return from Jota next week against Leicester. Will it be worth spending 2 free transfers just to get him in for 1 week instead of Mbeumo? So I love the idea of Jota, but he falls under the category of don't be the first man to buy him. Obviously, we saw him come off last week, fantastic, but I just don't think you need to be the first person to bring him in. So let this week happen and then reassess the following week. And we'll have a chat about that on next week's videos, because I don't think we need to discuss game week 18 yet, because we need to see how game week 17 pans out. If Jota plays 90 minutes, that could be great, but then could we also see him benched in the favourable game week 18 fixture? That's what we got to ask ourselves. I can only start Pedro or Wood. Which one? I'm going to say Wood. I'm going to say Chris Wood. Munoz instead of 8 Nori, -8. No, because Munoz is suspended. So you're basically getting rid of a suspended player for another one. The man, the myth, the legend. What an amazing name that is. Is Haaland a must-sell if he blanks this week? Nobody's a must-sell, because if you're going to be not selling him this week, then look at this fixture run coming up. Everton at home, Leicester. If you have kept Erling Haaland this long, ignore it's Vardy, we're just using the City fixtures. If you have kept faith in Haaland for this long, you have to keep going. Like, you have to keep going, because look, Everton at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home, Brentford away, Ipswich away. They're glorious. Fair play for keeping Haaland, and I would be keeping him if you're looking to hold him this week. Enzo to Ahmad, no. If you have Enzo, you keep Enzo. If you have Ahmad, you keep Ahmad 100%. Just making sure this is all sorted a minute. Sorry, guys. So I had a bit of a weird thing crop up there on like the volume. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Hopefully it hasn't changed. Gary, captaincy for me, very clear. Mo Salah is the standout pick for me. If we look at the actual numbers here for the games, Liverpool top for projected goals at 2.4. Spurs with all their defensive problems. Mo Salah completely rested midweek. I think it's a no-brainer for me. I think that is the man to have as our choice. Should I sell Johnson for a -4? Depends on your squad depth. If you're going to be rolling out like a terrible option, then I can justify the -4. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. Merry Christmas, Addy Mac. Already got Gabriel, so would you start Raya or Flecken? If I owned Raya, I would be starting him in every fixture, because look at Arsenal's clean sheet odds here, 44%. No Eze for Crystal Palace either. And Palace have been better, but they haven't been free scoring necessarily, apart from obviously the Brighton fixture. And even then, a couple of the goals were on the break. So Arsenal, I just don't think are going to let up those chances against Crystal Palace. If you have Raya, I think you start him in pretty much every fixture. Buy Robinson or Castagne. Look, Robinson is the safe pick, but for me, I probably would say take a punt on Castagne. Now, there's no point me putting up any sort of numbers on Castagne, because end of the day, I just don't think it is really one of those situations where you need to go to Castagne, but I feel like the funds that allows you at 0.6 is worth doing so. So I'm just seeing what is going on here. Subbing Colwell instead of João Pedro. I will start João Pedro over Cole. Wow. Sorry, it's been a very busy morning, so I have just lost my brain there. Let's just put it back on, right? Let's just have a coffee. We're back. Okay, so I would start João Pedro over Colwell 100%. James Mendes, morning, my friend. Brought in Gomez for Ain't Nori this week for a cheap route into the Liverpool defence. Would you start him ahead of Kirkes? My other defenders are Gabriel, Robinson, and Wout Faes. I probably would start Gomez over Kirkes. I think Man United do score in that game. Manoj is saying he made a hard decision, bench João Pedro and picked Ahmad in, because my midfield is Saka, Salah, Palmer, Bruno and Ahmad, with Robinson, Vardy, Lewis Dunk at the back. So you think João is smart. Well, I wouldn't start João Pedro over any of those midfielders that you've selected. So yes, I do agree with that selection. Stan, have I checked the carp topic? I haven't had a chance yet, but I am going to do so. I may present my family with a carp on Christmas Day, possibly. I will check on that, Stan. I do. I'm so curious about that. Let me put my team back up, by the way, for those that are wondering. Malcolm, should I do Jackson out for Isak? No, I think this game week, if you own Jackson, you keep. If you own Isak, you keep. I think it's quite an easy selection there. We're getting close to the end of the questions, actually, which is great. We are flying through them. Thank you again, guys, for being on this stream. Should I set Evan Nielsen for Raul Jimenez? Like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, what does Evan Nielsen have next week? Palace at home, Fulham, Everton. Like, there's okay fixtures for Evan Nielsen in the future. I mean, you can do it, but I just have to caveat it by saying that Raul Jimenez probably plays 70. And there's a chance he might get subbed in one of the games. Like, if we look at the fixture schedule for Fulham, so let's just say Raul plays. Is he going to play Sunday, Thursday, Sunday with a very, very capable player in Munoz waiting in the wings? And I'd probably say no. So you could get 70 here, you could get 70 here, and you might get 30 there. If that's enough for you, then great. Obviously, that's my own opinion. You might be sat there thinking, no chance. Raul Jimenez plays every minute of every game. Then cool. That's obviously your decision. But I think Raul's great, but I can see a benching in one of these games. I can't see him starting 3 in a row when they have someone like a Muniz available to them. I have next instead of Gordon. Is that okay? Nick, just drop that. Oh, Enzo, not next. Yeah, absolutely fine, because we can't directly compare Enzo and Gordon, although we probably can right now based on the returns. But Enzo allows you to have what, like 2.5 million available to upgrade the rest of your squad. So that's a really powerful position to be in on that one there. Is Palmer a risky pick? No, absolutely not. You cannot have Palmer as a risky captaincy. No, not at all. What I would say is, do I prefer Mo Salah? Yes. But I think, obviously in this position, for me, Mo Salah is still the standout captaincy. And I can see Stan has become a FPL fan supporter. Stan, that is massive. Thank you so much, my friend. I feel like I have to try carp on Christmas Day now for that one. No, I really do appreciate that, mate. Thank you so much for becoming a FPL fan supporter. That is massive. Thank you, mate. That means the world. And yes, I know I have to try some carp now, aren't I? Merry Christmas, Addy Mac. I've covered that one. Bench one, by the way. Ahmad, Mbuemo, Vissa, or João Pedro. Oh my God. Look, if I had Ahmad, I would have to start him. I'd have to start Mbuemo because he's at home. And then it comes down to Vissa versus João Pedro. João Pedro's on penalties, Vissa is not. I would argue both have similar fixtures. I've said this on a previous one. I would go for Vissa just because he's my boy this season. But João Pedro probably is the logical pick to start over Vissa. Start Semenyo or Rodgers, I would go for, personally, Rodgers. I think he has an opportunity really to tear up that midfield of Man City. Just double checking here to see if I've missed anything a second. Sorry, guys. So I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything on here. I can't see anything on Twitter, so it looks like we might be okay in terms of any late news. But of course, if there is anything, I don't want to make sure I'm not missing it for you. Okay, yeah, I can't see anything, so I don't think we're going to get any update on, like, Cunha, for example. Sorry, I was just reading that, that's all. Let's get back to it. Andrew saying, Gabriel Timber Hall and Robinson seem to be a good move for the foreseeable future, rotating the latter to playing Hall in the home games. Yeah, I agree. I've seen similar things. I think that's a really nice combination in defence right now. Captain Cunha over Salah, Crane, for me, the answer is no. But if you want to go there with your gut feeling, then I, love it. I don't mind it. I want to take a chance and play Rodgers and Smith Rowe in a 3-5-2. Is this crazy? Or play 3-4-3 with João Pedro and play Smith Rowe. Look, it always comes down to it. If you've got that gut feeling that Smith Rowe is going to do well this week at home, and it's a great fixture, by the way, then just go for it, because there's nothing worse than having a gut feeling about playing a player. You get an opinion on a stream like this who kind of tempt you away, and then you reluctantly do something, and then the inevitable happens, and you say to yourself, oh, I knew I should have stuck my gut. So I think that's always the one thing I do try and push on these streams, is that it's all well and good asking questions, but I really want to make sure that you guys don't go into a game week and really regretfully do something. So 9 times out of 10 when people ask a question, they generically are a little bit indifferent about what to do, and they want to look for a bit of confirmation bias. But I think sometimes when you have that gut feeling, I think you just stick with it, because you're going to really regret it if the player that you don't start, who you really wanted to, does well. It's just kind of like, I knew I should have done that. So I think you stick with your gut on that one, mate, and start Semenyo in that case. Semenyo. I'll tell you what, my head's all over the place today. Smith Rowe, sorry. Start Enzo or João Pedro again. Very difficult. You've got the penalty taker on João Pedro, or Enzo, who's guaranteed minutes, and a few more avenues to points. For me, I probably would start João Pedro. And he's saying have Mbuemo have Mbeumo, Palmer, Salah, Bruno and Rodgers in midfield. Isak and João Pedro up front, 1 million in the bank. I want to double up on Man United. That's brave. And put Ahmad and transfer out Rodgers. Is it a wise move, boss? Well, first and foremost, Andy, thank you for the question, my friend. And Mbeumo, Palmer, Salah, Bruno and Rodgers in midfield. And I'm guessing you want to, like you say, get rid of Rodgers for Ahmad. Okay, so I actually think Rodgers, long-term, is actually not a bad pick. I think the fixtures turn, and we know that he is a bit of a guaranteed minutes in that Villa team. So I'm not of the opinion that Rodgers is a terrible pick. However, like I said, if you really want to double up on that Man United, this is the week to do it at home against Bournemouth. So yes, I do like the move, but just be cautious. Villa's fixtures long-term are not bad, and I do think Rodgers will be back on the menu for us longer term. Animations, hope you're doing well, mate. Captain Isak or Salah, I've covered this. I think Salah for me is clear favourite. Rodgers or Evan Nielsen to start. As I said, I think I would lead towards Rodgers with that Man City midfield being pretty bang average, but Man United also give up chances. Anthony saying, who do I take Brennan Johnson out for? Downgrade? It would be Amad Diallo for me. Upgrade? Then there is a plethora of choices. Let me know in the chat if you've got a lot of cash in the bank. Otherwise, I would just say Ahmad and leave it at that. Now, we got NUFC Milan. Don't know if that's a guy or a girl. Either way. An overall rank of 326. That just disgusts me. That's incredible, Milan. Incredible. First and foremost, let's have a round of applause in the chat for that rank. Wow, 326 in the world. That's crazy. I don't even want to change. I don't even want to say anything, Milan. Now you might be meaning 326,000 in the world. Then that's a little bit different. But I don't know if I even want to comment, to be honest with you, because you're absolutely flying. So let's have a look. Just played the wild card as well. That's outrageous. Sells and Fabianski. Cool. Don't mind that. Sells and Fabianski. Although yeah. Okay. Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Munoz and Robinson. Solid. I don't love the idea you haven't got double defense. Salah, Palmer, Saka are just a lock. Ahmad and Rodgers. Yes. I know everyone's talking about Enzo, but I do think Rodgers will come back on the menu, as I said. Isak, Jackson, Stewart. So you are going very much just a flat 2 up top, Stewart bench every single week. I don't love that because we know over the Christmas period there is going to be rotation and you might have to go 3 deep in the bench. Any changes? Okay, so look, I can't lie. I don't feel confident giving you any sort of changes on this team because you are doing so well. But it's just a couple of things here. I just think don't love the third forward being Stewart, but I appreciate it means that you've got the money to put elsewhere in the team. Can Stewart get to Raul Jimenez as a bit of a... If I was wildcarding right now, I think the fixtures are too good to not go Raul Jimenez, especially if you've got free transfers accumulated as well in the bench, in the bank. Starts the menu or Rico Lewis. Ugh. Well, we should get some news possibly about Man City early. So if we do, Rico Lewis, hopefully you're here. I mean, I think they're both terrible. I probably would just go for Rico Lewis myself. Start João Pedro or Smith Rowe. Probably go for João Pedro. Probably just go for João Pedro because he's on penalties. Morning animations. Hope you're well, mate. Whom to start? Very, very nice. Whom to start? I have Flecken and Sells. I always would play the home fixture, so it would be Flecken in this case. Khalid saying, can anyone help me? I have Saka, Palmer, Salah, Isak, Wood, Arnold, Gabriel, Mag? Is that his second name, I guess? Hall, Robinson, Flecken, Sanchez, 8, Nori, Rodgers, João Pedro, Ahmad. And I didn't use any chips like wildcard free. Team looks great. Obviously, I can't really give any context right now because of the, the decision on how many transfers you have available. David, you look cool today, buddy. David, appreciate that. I was just saying at the start of the stream, I've been out this morning with my wife, taking her, dropping her off at a hen do. So it's been gale force winds, so it was just a case of throwing on the cap. And I looked at the hair underneath and thought, that ain't coming out today. So cap is on. Isak, Salah or Palmer captain this week. Again, very clear for me is going to be Mo Salah. Like always with streams, I would love to improve the setup of this. Just don't have the time right now, but I would love to have maybe like a little ticker that tells you who my top captaincies are and stuff. Maybe one day we'll get there, but I am very, very bad at stuff like this. So I am all about just, what's it called? Just making sure the information at least is good, hopefully, anyway. Cheeks to my friend, hope you're doing well. Boy in the autumn, hope you're doing well, my friend. So half and half on Salah or Palmer captain. Again, I'm very bullish on Salah, and I'm going to be a bit of a broken record on this one. I think if you're half and half, it might be worth maybe actually just going over to a content creator in terms of who have got Palmer, just to maybe get the other side of the story on why they're going there, because I feel quite very confident on the Salah captaincy, and the main reason being, mate, is it's just because obviously the numbers are really, really the numbers are great here. 2.4 projected goals for Mo Salah, and Palmer's at 2.05 is great as well, but I just think Spurs are going to give up a lot of opportunities. Stan saying basically fish is a fasting dish, and mid-Europe had loads of ponds, even exporting carps centuries ago. That is probably the reason. Oh, wow, okay. I love this. Getting a bit of a history lesson here from Stan. Thank you, mate. May I ask, please bench one, Colwill, Hall or Timber? Okay, so Timber we can just take out of the equation. If you own an Arsenal defender, you start him all the time. So Timber for me is an absolute guaranteed starter. Then it comes down to Hall versus Colwill. So first, let's take a look at the projected clean sheet odds. You got Newcastle at 32%, Chelsea at 34%. Everton not really scoring many goals. Ipswich, again, not free scoring defensively. I think there probably is more avenues to points for Lewis Hall in terms of offensively, so I probably would just lean towards Lewis Hall myself, but that's because I am a Chelsea fan. I'm a little bit indifferent about us defensively, especially with Fofana's injury, Badeshile out, Kukurea out, suspended as well. NUFC is saying that they were 172 ranked last week. Wow. Small red arrow this week. 2 free transfers after the wild card. It's either Stewart and Jackson or Wood and João Pedro, and I really want Jackson. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I get that. If you want Jackson, then yes, I think leaning towards that. The only consideration I would say to you, if you need to free up the funds, you could do Robinson to Castagne and maybe have that as a long-term punt. You get a piece of the Fulham defence. You know he probably is going to start now, and you free up 0.6 million. Maybe just play around with that to see if that helps enable another move in your team. Okay. I do apologise, but I think we're going to have to wrap it up here, only because I got to jump on a TikTok live for the last half an hour. I just saw the time. I'm like, oh my God, where is this day gone? So we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for those that did tune in. Always massively appreciated. It's been a really good one. It was a little bit off the cuff, to be honest with you, this one. So it's awesome that you guys have all jumped on very last minute. So we are going to wrap it up here. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Have a great one. Hopefully you have a green arrow this week. Fingers crossed. Obviously, plenty of other content creators out there. So go check them out. Go say hi from me to them. And we will wrap it up there. Have a great one. Have a great weekend. Have a great Christmas. I'm not going to talk to you between now and then. Maybe on Sunday we'll discuss that. Have a great one, guys. And I'll see you real soon. Cheers.